Most of the time. Unless my wife is mad at me, then I did something.
Let me rephrase it. Are we good to?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready to start, sure.
All right, good evening, everybody. It is 7 o'clock and we're going to officially call this meeting to order. Deb, would you kindly do roll call?
Counselor Williams,
Yes, ma'am.
Counselor Hansi,
Here.
Counselor Purser, Counselor Parrish,
Here.
Counselor Quigley,
Yes.
Counselor Miller.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask everybody to stand for a moment of silence to collect your thoughts, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Every time it's great to have the schools here and hear that. So thank you, guys. Deb, we have an agenda before us. Are there any changes?
Mr. Mayor, I would like to note for the record that we amended the agenda yesterday with the removal of a consent agenda item for a boards and commissions appointment. The applicant withdrew his application, but when the council makes a motion to approve the consent agenda, it's just as presented.
Thank you very much. All right, with that, we have an agenda before us. Need a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Any discussion?
No.
Deb?
Counselor Williams, Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley, Counselor Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you very much. We have one presentation tonight, and I'm not sure what it is. There we go. Tonight, we get the honor of doing the Fruita Student of the Month for February, which is Monument Ridge Elementary School. Nice to see the school colors. With that, would you like to kind of come up and kick us off, Ms. Larson, and away we go?
Okay, well, we do something a little different at Monument Ridge. Instead of bringing our students who earn Mountain Lion Awards, we bring our student government officers each year. And today I have with me, would you like them to come forward?
Yes, and then we have people up here that can present the certificates.
Okay, I have Carson Williams. He is our president. Come on up, Carson.
Yep, go ahead. All right, Carson.
Good last name. Good last name, sir.
Good last name. Lydia Snyder is our secretary.
Yep, you don't get off that easy.
Adley Engelhart is our historian. And Keegan Kimsey is our treasurer.
All right, you guys don't get to go. We're gonna all get a picture taken together. And congratulations. Way to lead off with student government. They've got to do it, you gotta do it.
You only got a couple more years of it.
What?
Sure.
See you later.
I really would like to just share a few things that our student government does at Monument Ridge because they are an amazing group of kids. So they ended up in these positions because they created a video. That video was shared with the student body. And so they were elected by their peers across all grade levels. They head up the food drive through the Burton Orthodontic, Take a Bite Out of Hunger. And we have won a $1,000 prize every year since Monument Ridge has been open as part of completing that food drive and earning the most points. They operate our school store. It's earned almost $1,000 so far this year. They head up the Mountain Lion Monitors, helping keep kids safe as they're arriving to school in the morning and helping to get kids out to the playground. They head up our recycling program, and so there are committees of students who help do that. They also run our yearbook. They participate in Friday sales where we sell different kinds of items for 50 cents at the end of the day. So they help do that. They also lead our quarterly assemblies, and it's in front of the entire student body, and they do an amazing job with that. Another thing that they do, and I'm not sure, Janine, if you experience this, but they have a community outreach every spring. Maybe Mr. Williams, you have, where they go and visit businesses in Fruita and deliver cookies and just kind of get our name out there, things that we do. They also adopt a charitable organization every year. Last year, they adopted Happy Little Rescue and were able to donate $500. So they're a pretty amazing group. And if I didn't highlight that, you would not know maybe how hard they work. So I'm really proud of them. And as fifth graders, they get to hold this position.
So they do all
Outstanding.
that and still have time to go to school?
And these are all really fabulous students as well. So they're leaders and great.
Thank you for sharing. All right. I always love when the schools are here. It's so much fun. All right. With this, we're going to go ahead and move into our public participation and consent agenda. For those that really pay attention, there's a slight change to the announcement tonight. This portion of our meeting is set aside for City Council to listen to comments from the public about items not on tonight's agenda or items that appear on the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are those for which all conditions or requirements have already been met, and they are typically approved with a single motion without separate discussion. We welcome and value your input. To help maintain a welcoming, respectful, and productive environment, we ask that there be no clapping, cheering, booing, jeering, or sign holding. This helps ensure that everyone, regardless of their point of view, feels comfortable sharing their thoughts. Each speaker will have 3 minutes, and that we request you state your name, and if you would, let us know if you are a Fruita resident. If you have materials you'd like to share with council, please hand them to our city clerk, Deb Woods, so that they can be entered into the public record and distributed appropriately. While council will not respond during this portion of the meeting, please know that we are listening, and we appreciate you taking the time to participate in this very important process. So with that, I'd like to open up the floor to anybody that would like to come up and speak. Please come on up.
My name is Leslie Golub. I'm not a resident of Fruita, but I'm a resident of New Liberty, which is 5 miles northwest of Mac. And I'm here today for you that are cinema buffs. I'd like to announce a film festival. It's not Creature of the Black Lagoon. Not The Thing versus King Kong or Attack of the Wild Mushrooms in Crested Butte. It's a Jewish film festival, and it will be on February 21st, 22nd at CMU Ballroom. And this year's lineup includes 3 films and some shorts. Saturday evening begins with appetizers and wine and a Q&A with the writer of the comedy film. She's from LA, she's flying in. The comedy film is One Big Happy Family. And Saturday matinee is a documentary, Dead Sea Guardians, and that will be a Q&A, actually a Zoom with the director of the film from Israel. And Sunday evening is another documentary, Elie Wiesel, Soul on Fire. This schedule of events flyer will be on the table with Deb if any of you are interested. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Is there anybody else that would like to come up and speak? So that we ask that you provide your name and let us know if you're a resident.
I appreciate that. My name is Thomas Wells. I am a resident of Fruita, and I appreciate the change and the requests here. I'm back again, actually, to speak on that topic. It was prescient. I wanted to follow up on some of those comments from last time and share some excerpts from some very brief Google AI research that I did on City Council meeting minutes. So I put as many minutes as I could into a cool tool called Google's Notebook LM. It pulls the data together and then it'll answer questions based off that data. So I was able to pull meeting minutes back from 2022. And I have a few choice excerpts from that. The first question I asked was list the 5 most frequent commenters at Fruita City Council meetings. And it went through by year and gave me names and addresses. 2022, Windy Wood, J and 610th Road, Archie Lopez, Ruby Lee Drive. I'll omit the actual street number, but you get the point. I got the top 5 by every year. I also then went and asked who were the speakers at the most divided council meetings by topic and which side of the issue were they on. The first one, you probably remember this, was the City Market fuel station. We've got John Phillips, argued it would reduce carbon footprint. Ken Henry spoke in favor of the free enterprise. People opposed were Ryan Brown and Jim Hershinger. Next on the list was the sculpture controversy, which we all remember quite well. And we got names and addresses of people speaking on both sides of that. I then shifted and asked, okay, so for each of the currently active city council members, tell me a little bit about them. What do they care about? How are they likely to vote on different issues? I'll read a little bit of Mayor Matz, if I may. Economic development. He's deeply involved with the Grand Junction Economic Partnership. He's interested in big, audacious goals for the city's future. Housing strategy. He supports affordable housing and is skeptical of government acting as a developer. He believes the housing authority should facilitate partnerships rather than create and manage projects. Now, whether or not these things are accurate is sort of beside the point. With about 15 minutes of work, I can pull up all of this information. Nothing is new here, right? No new data is out there. It's just the accessibility of the data. And I don't have any good recommendations either. I don't know if there are policy decisions that should be made on this, but I think that we should be aware of how easy it is to access this information. And most of this is pretty well grounded in truth. It changes the dynamic, I think, a lot. And we should be mindful about what's out there about ourselves and also what we ask people to submit to the public record. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right. Is there anybody else that would like to come up and speak? All right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. Bring it back to council. We have a consent agenda. As a reminder, we can ask questions on stuff. Do you have any concerns or comments about anything on consent? James? Nope. Okay. That I would need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the
Going off
consent
script at
agenda.
once.
I feel like I do it all the time. Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as before us.
Second.
All right, first is second. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right, seeing none. Deb?
Counselor Hansi,
Yes.
Counselor Purser,
Yes.
Counselor Parrish,
Yes.
Counselor Quigley,
Yes.
Counselor Miller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams. Motion passes 6-0.
Great, thank you very much. So we are going to go ahead and jump on down to our administrative agenda. We have two items on that. The first one is update on the launch project. And I don't know who's going first, if it's going to be Dan Karras, our Assistant City Manager, or Gavin Brook with Two Forks Venture. So you guys get to fight to see who goes first.
They even match.
I won.
They match.
I know.
Coordinated outfits.
Yeah, really.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Again, Dan Karras, Assistant City Manager. Record. I'll be brief and turn it over to Gavin, but as you all recall, we've had some pretty strict kind of like timeframes when we come and actually report to council on the things that we are doing that are actionable based off of our development agreement. And we have some things to update you on. I won't steal Gavin's thunder, but it's definitely exciting since this kind of feels like it marks sort of the start. Just by way of the record, the property that we're referring to is the westernmost 40 acres along the alignment of Raptor Road, formerly our decommissioned sewer lagoons. We entered into an agreement or a development arrangement about a year ago. And that has essentially brought us to today, which is, many sort of meetings and discussions with Two Forks or Gavin that ultimately resulted in the conveyance of 50% of the real property where the private development will occur. And now we're starting to take some bite-sized pieces out of the development agreement relative to who does what and when and who pays for it. And that is what we're here to discuss with you this evening and give you an update on. So with that, Gavin.
Mr. Mayor, Council, been a little while. Nice to see you all. So Gavin Brook with Two Forks Ventures. We're here to give a quick update on the launch and short intro into a new idea or a new direction of what we're proposing for the entitlements and how we go proceed with those. There's no action being asked for tonight, just informational. We'll be back, I anticipate March 3rd, meetings out, make a more formal presentation. First, can we celebrate Josephine's?
Yeah.
Has been very successful. I was there for dinner last Wednesday night. It was busy. So if you haven't been, you should go. It's been phenomenally successful, and the owners are beyond happy. So thank you for the support in that, but also congratulations to all of us. It's working. Okay, so back to the presentation. There are three things we want to catch you up on, what's going on behind the scenes. Planning team progress, an update on the entitlement direction, and we jokingly were calling it one bite at a time. And then the schedule. So the first item in that team progress, we have selected the planning and the architecture groups. We've decided to work with Cheney Bostic, who you guys know well. She's Studio Seed out of the Front Range, and she has worked with you guys on the comp plan. She's worked with you guys on design standards and on Mulberry Plaza. So she'll lead the planning team. She knows and adores Fruita and is a great fit. Claire von Montfranz, who did Josephine's, is going to be doing the architecture lead. So, and the architecture lead will be limited in the first instances, but for this planning round, but we need an architect. We've confirmed River Restoration, who's been with us from the beginning for both boat ramp and floodplain. And we're in the process of final interviews with the civil engineers, both local and both the city would know. Landscape and soils have been a little more challenging to find the right partners, but we're still working on that. And then, of course, there's the City of Fruita team. So Dan and Shannon and all the staff, Steve Martinez been phenomenally instrumental, and Henry and Mark and John Bolton will all be wrapped up in this very shortly. In terms of the entitlements, originally in the development agreement, the assumption was that we would go after one big peak. And we are proposing that has proven to have too much risk and a huge bite to begin with. So we're proposing a new approach where we go after underlying zoning for the entire parcel with some limitations on it. And then we proceed into infrastructure drawings, and that solves for sort of zoning and infrastructure, which are the fundamentals for me funding it. Then with those two in place, we can proceed into off-site infrastructure, on-site infrastructure, and park planning. That allows us to move into phase one. And following that starting, we would go into a full PUD. So we sort of prove the market viability of the project and then move into the full PUD process. So that's a rearrangement of what we'd contemplated in the development agreement, but continues with the spirit of it, continues with the spirit of the guiding principles, and I don't think slows us down in any way. In fact, shortens some of the process or procedural pieces in moving towards infrastructure and the park. In terms of further detail there, I think the baseline for the market being excited about this project is it being developable, and there has to be permission to develop. Currently, it is zoned as a park, and it has a great future designation, but it's not truly developable at this point. So I think that is, I've been sort of pressure testing how to get this moving forward, and we need the fundamentals of permission to build and infrastructure essentially to the lot, designed and priced to the lot line. So those would be proposed as the two first steps. Really, when we back up and think about what the motivations are about flexibility. If you look at some of these big PUDs, especially the multi-use PUDs that are like, they are planned to the nth detail and then stuck with that planning for a long time. And we don't think that's appropriate here. I certainly don't think that's appropriate here. So what we're now proposing is a zoning first, a phase one infrastructure design, park planning process, site plan review and subdivision for the parcel one, and then PUD process. So slightly different process than we'd originally proposed. What we anticipate is bringing a full proposal of that to March 3rd, and then starting into the application process immediately afterwards, with everybody's agreement that that feels like the right way to go. So I guess with that, I would absolutely field questions or comments, ideas.
We'll open up to the public, public comment.
Great.
And then bring it back to council. So with that, I'd like to open it up for public comment. Does anybody have anything? Bring it back to council. That conversation we had earlier. Thanks. All right.
We also don't engage with the audience.
Am I turning red yet?
Yeah.
All right, let's bring this sucker back to council.
So, hey, Gavin, when you come in on March 3rd, I'm sure you're already going to do this, but just for the sake of throwing it out there, will you kind of have this is where we were, this is what we want to do, kind of when you walk us through, because you were talking about how it's going to be a little different than what we had originally And just so it's not over our heads, you can dumb it down a little bit and go, this was what we were and this is where we're proposing. Is that kind of the
Yeah,
presentation
The whole
form?
diagram looks like this. We were proposing to put really complicated entitlements on the whole thing and
Mhm.
finalize them.
Sure.
Now we're proposing to put really simple entitlements
Okay,
and finalize it right here.
sure.
That is the simplest diagram of it, but absolutely.
And I figured you would, but I just wanted to say that.
Development agreement,
Perfect.
all of the line items of that.
Great.
I'm a big fan of the smaller bites.
Yeah, absolutely.
That fits our vision of like having it be a little bit more creative and organic than saying, here's what it needs to be. So
It's
I like
embedded
that.
right in the guiding principles.
It is,
Right?
yeah.
We
Yeah, I think
said
it-
we were going to maintain flexibility and we were going to be market responsive and we were going to be collaborative about how it happens. And I think this is a cleaner approach.
I like it.
But the amphitheater's name's not changing. That working title's just staying. Yeah, take a look at it when you get a chance. I had nothing to do with it.
We can AI. I'm sure we can figure that out.
Look at this. We are going to hold you to the, yeah, it's like you said, it's the vision was we want
Yeah.
flexibility. We kind of know where we want to go, but flexibility to get there. All right. Anything else?
How are things coming along for public use?
The planning for that has not really started, but the public use, the improvements for the public use are tied directly to any sort of private development. So in terms of, I mean, the basics, the city did a fair amount to grade and seed, and I was just walking it. No, I mean, it looks like you got 60 or 70% germination on the seeds, so that's kind of, and it given,
It is. Mhm.
and it is able to be opened up, but I don't think that there's any sort of management plan in place or idea about it.
Still working on it.
How it's going to be opened up. Totally, but
Sorry.
It's also been winter.
Yeah.
Is it winter?
Right, right. It doesn't feel like it.
Well, I appreciate you coming in. It'll be nice to talk in a couple weeks to
Great.
get in more detail and
yeah, we can dig in. It'll be
nice.
full presentation.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good to see ya.
We're done with
March
the
3rd to see you.
Now that we're done with the administrative item and not the action item, we'll move on to the second one,
Mr. Mayor, can I just mention one thing real quick for the record?
please.
The purpose for this, this approach also is that once this becomes a development application, it has its own set of standards and processes associated. So we're having these discussions, not necessarily determining that outcome, but this is the approach that we're going to take. And then we'll rely on, obviously, our zoning and development code to fetter out whether that zoning needs to be put in place. So I just wanted to make sure that, we're still dotting all the i's and crossing all the t's process-wise.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
All right, so we have one more item on the administrative agenda and not action items. I'm just not going to let this go. I don't know about you guys. We have a land use code amendment with non-functional turf and residential occupancy land code amendments. And Henry, our planning director, you are up.
Thank you,
There will
Mr.
not be public comment after this. Jim.
Okay. Public is more than welcome to comment following this meeting on any land use code changes that we're proposing.
Thank you.
So just in case. So tonight, we just kind of wanted to give an update, a little bit of a heads up before we start a formal process to update our code. These code updates are really directed from the state level and passed down to local municipalities. And so it's more of a process that we need to go through regardless. These aren't code amendments that we feel like are publicly forced or pushed. They're more state pushed or of state concern for all these municipalities. So the first one, and I anticipate there being a couple more throughout the year, but we want to get in front of it and kind of consolidate some of these. So there's not just one and then another one and another one. I think we're going to start combining some of these as they move forward and as we tie up the language. The two before you tonight for just kind of a heads up and no action taken is non-functional turf. This one is proposed through Colorado House Bill 25-1113, and that requires that municipalities act to prohibit the installation of non-functional turf and non-functional artificial turf throughout their jurisdiction. And so I wanted to pull up kind of a visual just to give you paint a picture, if you will, of what non-functional turf might look like and how it affects kind of our town. So the amendments proposed don't necessarily require that certain things in the city now have to be removed. Those are essentially grandfathered in or legal non-conforming, but anything new that's more of like a site plan or like a residential development along roadways or anything like that, we need to start to take these things into consideration. And so this area, this strip, here's Cherry Street looking north, the hospital, and Shellady is to the north. But this little grass piece between the sidewalk and the street, that's essentially defined by the state as non-functional turf. It really is not a park or a space where you just go and recreate for any reason. And so that's more or less included in the definition. Now, staff, Joey and I have been in contact with some of the resources that the state has provided with regards to expecting some code changes and making sure municipalities get it right in the first time. We've been talking with them and making sure that our code and our potential updates can meet their standards so we don't have to do this more than once, hopefully. But here's another place. This is the parking lot at Family Health West. There's a large grass area between Colson and the parking area. I believe there could be some efforts here in the future to just get rid of that and add some additional parking for the hospital. This is a larger piece than the one I just showed you on Cherry that could offer some opportunities to help with some congestion maybe in the Family Health West parking lot and Civic Center parking lot. But this is again is non-functional turf. You're not taking, you're not doing soccer practice here or flag football practice. You're walking your dog or something like that. But really what they're wanting is to utilize more of the irrigation water, or water in general for recreation uses like large parks like Salt Wash and some of the other active parks that we have throughout the city. So they're trying to get away from that.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a quick question?
Yeah.
On the top one, the Cherry and the strip of on Cherry Street, that strip is actually that homeowner's property, correct?
These new codes apply to homes. So like new residential construction
Can't
would
build-
not have that. Yeah. You might have native scaping or like xeriscaping.
Yeah.
Still have a strip, but
Yep.
Yeah.
Not grass. Yep. Which is fine because people get confused at who's supposed to be in charge of maintaining that anyways.
It's interesting. I look at the bottom picture, sorry, but if they pave that, let's say they were to pave that over, there's still the restrictions of, and I'm gonna get wrong, there's 20 spots, you have to have this many shrubs or this many trees, would still be in place. But that creates a lot of non-permeable space for runoff.
Right.
This is required by state law that we have to.
We have to adopt codes that then will apply to brand new projects moving forward. It won't,
Not retroactive.
right.
Oh, I totally understand that. I guess it's, I hate that the state is regulating how we can do what we want to do within our community. Because if I look at that as that, those things are beautiful.
Yep.
And just like, I think there's enough, I've seen enough things where xeriscape's not what we were sold on. I think that increases temperatures, I believe. There's still maintenance. It's not maintenance free. It's not cheaper necessarily. And it's disheartening to see that there's state legislature that's coming down that's going to impact our community that we live in. And as we all know, we're different than the Front Range and we pride ourselves in that. And that's why we live here. And so it's awful that we're being restricted and regulated to enforced
What happens
to
if
get
you
rid of
choose
this
not
stuff.
to do it?
Yeah, or is there an opt-out?
There's not an opt-out like the EV charging parking lot that we looked at previously.
Can we look at just what the options are if we choose not to abide by something like this? Just see what the pros and cons or impacts of if it's $1 a day.
It's the state.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Listen,
yeah,
This
sure.
is Mary Elizabeth Geiger, city attorney. So this is a state mandate. I mean, there isn't an opt-out. It doesn't, the statute itself doesn't necessarily set forth fines, but I'm sure the state can enforce this basically by an injunction and force you to adopt an ordinance that complies with the statute.
I think this is the professional term. This sucks.
I think it's also important to note that they're not saying you have to use rocks. Like,
Correct.
it's not just like saying you have to hardscape it. They're actually, the things that I've seen have actually encouraged a lot of like native scaping. So, you're just like very similar to what we use in the city for a lot of our landscaping that is non-functional areas. They're still beautiful and they're still, green and flowery. And it's definitely not just, because I am not a fan of xeriscaping is all rock. Xeriscaping is, more like, yeah.
It just
Native scaping is, I think, the best option.
So is this an example of what they'll allow us to do?
this,
Yes.
thank you, Amy.
green it.
Sorry.
This
Jeez.
This is, again, it's on Cherry, and this is out on the side of Coloramo. This is what the state, I think, is expecting municipalities to kind of move towards. And it is something that we as staff have been very supportive of and encouraging. These little strips, they need irrigation water if they have turf. Then they need to get mowed, and there's maintenance and all of these different things. And if you can just provide some drip irrigation, maybe to get the native landscaping started, it doesn't take as much irrigation water to keep it going. And so then you start to see these native areas, these really actually like non-irrigated areas do look really nice.
This is
Maintenance is still a thing.
so that actually looks a lot more appealing in the summer and spring.
Yeah.
It's not usually brown like that.
Right. And so, again, with some of the city of Fruita's, we have landscaping standards, and we have an appendix in the back of our code that talks about different planting materials, different types of grasses, different types of shrubs and trees. And so the state, in part of their review comments to us when they were kind of looking at our code and taking in all of our potential updates that we'll eventually need to make, which is preface this, they have made suggestions about some landscaping materials that can then be used. And so as Joey and I have kind of started thinking about this and talking about this, I think something that we feel like would be easier for folks to kind of understand is if we put together some sort of like a pamphlet or something for developers or contractors or projects. So they just have something, hey, this is what the city wants. All right. And if it makes their job easier, they just go and say, hey, do this, then they're saving money, they're saving time. And then we don't have to, read the, scientific name of a plant, which, doesn't really coordinate with bluegrass or, a shrub or anything like that. So it's going to make everyone's jobs a little easier. If maintenance costs and irrigation water usage can maybe be diverted somewhere else, that's also a win as well. But since I've been here, a lot of the stuff that's been happening, especially in our downtown, or like just residential properties alone with attached sidewalks, we're not necessarily seeing that grass, strip between the sidewalk and the street. And then we're seeing more xeric type or native landscaping that kind of blends in with more of the valley and what's kind of around us in the desert area. So this, I don't think, will be a huge hurdle, if any, for any of kind of our partners or the builders or developers or contractors. I think it would be a much more of a heavy lift if it was not retroactive and we had to then go and start talking with folks and private property owners saying, hey, like, you got to do something with this. I do think the grass looks nice. It definitely adds, some aesthetics. But I think the point that the state's trying to make is like, let's conserve water as best we can and getting rid of some areas that have turf that aren't really serving much of a function per se is, I think, what they're getting at. And so that's where we're at. And we wanted to kind of get this out in front of you so you can maybe start thinking about it for the second reading, which will be before you hopefully in March. And then we're taking this to Planning Commission next week for discussion and feedback and a recommendation. So that was the first thing that we wanted to update you on. The second thing, again, state mandated, is Colorado House Bill 24-1007, and it's related to the definition of a family. And so family occupants, or it's residential occupancy standards. Currently, our code says that you can have up to 4 non-related, blood-related residents in a single residential unit. This definition, again, basically copied from the state, says that you basically need to remove those limitations and not have to figure out whether or not some person is family related or not. So that's the second one. So we're combining, they're not like together, but we're moving them through the process together. And so those are just the 2 updates we wanted to get out in front of you. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions if you might have any. That's
So they're saying the stipulations of them being blood relatives doesn't have to exist, or the amount of people?
both.
So you can just put 20 people in a house is what they're trying to say?
Well, you still have to meet the residential building code for the number of occupants in a single dwelling unit.
They don't necessarily have to be blood relatives.
Correct.
That's right. And just to follow up on what Henry just said, I mean, there are definitely limitations in the residential building code to, as to number of folks in a bedroom, number of folks, in a house, number of folks in
Excuse
an
me.
apartment. So bless you.
Thank you.
So anyway, yes, it's more just to provide that flexibility, especially knowing, the housing crisis most of the state is in, and also recognizing too that more folks are having, in-home care where somebody might live there who's assisting with an older, resident or family member, and to recognize that, they should be provided space if that's what's needed or warranted.
Any other?
I did want to clarify that I agree that it sucks. I'm not a fan of anything that takes away local control. Don't think that I was defending that. I just wanted to clarify, like,
Our
what
personal,
they're, yeah.
that's,
Yeah. I also agree, like, I haven't heard a lot of pushback on this. Like, most new development was already kind of moving towards this kind of thing anyways for, non-functional areas. But I agree, like, anytime that we take away local or private control, it sucks.
So you use Family Health West. Is there an event that would trigger that they would have to go back in? Like if they decide, we need 2 more parking spots and tap into that area of grass, would that trigger an event that says now you have to redo the whole thing? I'm just kind of curious. I don't understand how the grandfathering works.
Good question. Yeah, does that bypass
you
the
do so
grandfathering?
much, it's.
Like
it
with a
becomes-
building, if you
Yeah.
start to do something, you have to bring everything up to current.
Yeah, like
The post.
where, or we have an idea of where that would fit? So if they say, we're gonna add on 10 feet to the building, so we need to move 3 parking spots into that spot, would that trigger an event that we'd have to redo the whole thing? Or they would have to redo the whole thing?
I'd say we'd like to reserve some discretion from staff to make sure that, that doesn't affect other parking spaces nearby or access locations. And so if it did trigger, some sort of major update instead of kind of like a minor one, like an extra parking space or 2, then we definitely want to have that conversation about what might be the ultimate goal. Now, if we're adding more spaces now or a little bit, does that mean we have to add maybe another one later and another one later? Maybe get out ahead of it. I know the hospital and even some other areas, they have kind of a plan in place for expansion. And so maybe that would be a greater discussion with the hospital and even.
I'm not saying the hospital's about to do it. It's just, that's the example that you showed.
Usually like the landscape kind of strips aren't that wide. In the first picture, that's what you typically see, really narrow, like try to get it. And I mean, if you're trying to mow your yard and your last pass is the perfect strip of the lawnmower, like money, right? That looks like it would be a one passer and you're good. And so, you know, maybe they probably weren't designed because of that goal in mind, but it is a larger space. So it's kind of weird to see, but I mean, it makes perfect sense to utilize.
What happens if my sidewalk needs to be replaced? Just, you know, it's 30 or whatever years old. I have to replace my sidewalk. Is that still grandfathered in, or do we now have to, would that homeowner then have to move the sidewalk to the curb to get rid of that?
Or
You
landscape.
probably want to give them the discretion on whether or not they need to keep it. But a lot of those ones along Aspen up to, I think, like Laura Avenue are detached sidewalks. And then and you can kind of see the history of Fruita expanding a little bit towards Pine, where the sidewalks aren't necessarily like detached anymore.
Yeah.
But it is part of our community. It is something that, you know, folks associate with your lots and blocks of Old Town Fruita and Old Town Grand Junction for that matter, and other places that you might have been that have, you know, quaint, eclectic downtowns. So we're definitely not going to use all the teeth that this might give us as far as like, that's grass, you need to remove it if you touch it, you know, those things. We want folks
I
to
don't want
have
to
some
create undue
flexibility.
hardship for somebody that already has this and have them do something and it triggers an event and all of a sudden now they're having to spend thousands or whatever it might be more.
Getting that baseline information to where it's like, hey, here's the do's and don'ts. If you are at 40%, you're good. If you hit 60, then
Just
just things that are
I
easy
just
to.
don't want to have somebody go,
just-
all I went to do is move a piece of concrete. And now I gotta go my landscaping.
I'm just,
Ideally, it would only pertain to completely new development.
Yeah, and I think that's the angle, as well as the new developments that occur kind of after we update our code and after this, you know, Colorado House bill has kind of given municipalities a due date, so to speak. I think we can start calling it like it is on new stuff, brand new stuff, not, you know, this older stuff. We want homeowners to have the flexibility to, you know, keep it the way it is or make improvements that are necessary.
yeah, we don't want to make it a very high priority.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Rain.
All right, now that we're done with the administrative agenda, time to move on to city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council. This is actually a very nice segue into one of my updates. Staff is actually working on compiling a list of unfunded mandates that has been instituted to the city, whether by the state or other kind of governmental jurisdictions. This new code amendments, I would think, would qualify as those, as well as a few other things that have happened in the past few years, like, you know, body worn cameras, stuff like that. So we'll probably have a report to you very soon, and we can just send that over. And then at a workshop, if you're interested in discussing and seeing like what those actual numbers are, we probably have some pretty good details for you then. So we've been working on that. The issue of local control, this wasn't one that I was planning on updating on, but continues to be an issue, especially at the state legislature. So as a city and as a municipality, we are part of miscellaneous groups that represent a group of organizations, whether it's the Colorado Municipal League, which includes all municipalities in Colorado, or the Associated Governments of Northwest Colorado. We actually do have people that work on behalf of our interests at the legislature throughout the year, and they actually report back to us on bills that may be of interest to the city or counties, depending on the organization. So you've probably seen a lot of those come through your email box recently. There is some ones that are all focused on housing and basically making requirements of municipalities to adopt certain code changes to allow for easier process for developments, especially with affordable housing. So just so you know, we are tracking all this. And usually if, one of these organizations is going to take a position, whether it's oppose or support or oppose unless amended, we're able to give them feedback on that. And my approach as the liaison to both AG&C and CML is that we support local control. We strongly believe in local control. A lot of the things that they're trying to mandate down to municipalities, we already do, just due to some of our code changes that we've made, whether it's administrative approval of certain developments and things like that. So trying to legislate for things that don't necessarily need to be legislated just for the sake of saying it will help with affordable housing has kind of been our argument. So I'll continue to do so unless council has other or any concerns with that, because local control is what we value, especially as a home rule municipality. So if you see any bills you're interested in, I did send over the list that AG&C is tracking, but also CML tracks throughout the year, where you can always take positions on those if you're interested. We generally reserve some time to discuss those, then we could sign on, but it's still pretty early in the legislative session. There hasn't been, at least as of last week, there hasn't been a ton of bills introduced. None of them have any sort of fiscal notes yet as well. So it's very early. And from what we've been told, they're very behind on some of the work that they're going to do. So feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Moving on from that, so I just want to highlight some upcoming events. So this Saturday is the Sweetheart Run. We actually sold out today, so we always allow on-site registration. But I'm not sure if we're going to. So we are at 500 runners. So that should be a great event. 10K starts at 10 a.m. The 5K starts at 10:30. We may still allow some registration. You may not have a t-shirt or a bib, but you're more than welcome to come out. It should be a great event. At 11:30, we're also going to celebrate the 15th anniversary of the community center. So if you're available, come out, join us for some cupcakes and some post-race snacks, whether you ran the race or not. Should be a really nice morning for it. Next Thursday, we do have our candidate orientation at 5:30 in this room. So I scheduled it from 5:30 to 8 p.m. For our city council and mayoral candidates. And if anyone else is interested in attending, we will be providing dinner for that. We're also still waiting on a few responses from our doodle poll for economic development workshop. So if we could get those in probably tonight or tomorrow, we can nail down.
Keeps doing every time.
And keeps on spinning. That's great.
Machine thing.
Oh, shoot.
Okay. My availability, it's just for some reason not cooperating.
Okay. I'll shoot you over a text or something for that. But I think we're pretty close on that. So we have that. And then another event that's coming up, we actually hosted Trans Rockies, which is the new event organizer for the Desert Gravel Bike Race today. That's the group that bought Cotuit, and they're keeping it in Fruita, keeping it local, keeping the start and stop in downtown Fruita. We've heard really good things about this group, and we actually helped facilitate that deal as well with that agreement that we gave to them at the end of last year. That race is almost 80% sold out, which is good. They were on site planning today. It sounds like camping is going to be allowed at the middle school, so you could see that as well. But yeah, they're very excited to be here, travel all the way down from Alberta to do a tour of some of their sites, and really excited if anyone wants to race it. We do also have codes.
Maybe we should give the community a heads up that the camping at the middle school.
We will. Yeah. And they're also,
that was a big deal last year.
Yeah. They're also doing something this year that I really like. So with some of these longer events, they actually, the start and end would be in downtown. They're actually going to stop timing around P Road. Like P and 17. So people are not racing to get back into town for a certain place. So it'll just be much more of a neutral kind of start and end, because they have a really local focus for a lot of things that they do. So like, we don't want to be disruptive. If we have any road closures, we want to make sure they're only temporary. We want to give people adequate heads up. We want to, if there's vendors, they're actually, what's really cool is since it's their first year, they're providing any vendor that wants to participate free entry to it as well. So they really think about the community and the impacts that their event has to the community. So that was really refreshing to hear. So already think about how they can minimize the impacts to Fruita residents during the race. They moved it. It's the last Saturday in April, so the 25th, I believe, but I can double check that.
Yeah, it is.
25th, yeah.
And they have an event the night before.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Two other quick updates. Actually, just one since I already covered my unfunded mandates. Just wanted to give a shout out to Katie, John Bolden, and John Vasey. City was awarded $2.1 million in supplemental funds from the CDOT off-system bridge program last week. So we haven't went out to bid yet for the Maple Street Bridge replacement. We've received $2.5 million for that replacement project, 1.75 from the congressional directed spending back in 2021, 750,000 from the county. So back in 2022, we had an engineer's estimate 2.5. We'll see what that is, but we do have an additional supplemental funds to help if that is over. So really excited about that. So yeah, great work to them. And you saw on the consent agenda. Yeah. Katie's been having a lot of success lately. So good job. Yeah. You saw on the consent agenda, we are also applying for a DOLA grant for some sewer help as well for our downtown sewer line. So we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, 2.1 million in supplemental funds for Maple Street Bridge Replacement Project, which is excellent. Yeah, that's all I have. Thank you.
Meeting we had, what was it, last week?
I'll let you if you want. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we hosted Congressman Jeff Hurt and his deputy district director, Riley here, and I thought that was a great meeting. You know, talked about challenges, opportunities, a lot of things that we're working on. Talked about, you know, the importance of how a lot of the stuff that does happen at the federal level actually impacts Fruita. We, you know, when the government was shut down in November, we rushed to make that contribution to Food Bank of the Rockies, just knowing that there was a large population of our residents that received supplemental nutrition assistance. So just talked about, you know, how, you know, some of our priorities, but also how the federal government can, you know, help out Fruita and how sometimes just even continuity during a lot of these things can be very helpful. So no, I thought the meeting was great. I thought the interest was very genuine as well. And we have a lot of
Like the dam properties.
Yep. Yeah. The mountain water properties. Yeah.
Wanting to do the pedestrian bridge by the school in terms of what that would take and the reasons for it, and just trying to put things on his radar as well.
Yeah.
Moving forward, so when he does opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought the meeting was great. And yeah, he took a bunch of Fruita swag. He's going to put a WTF sticker somewhere in his Washington office. So if he's ever on the news, be on the lookout for that. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, it's already gone wrong for him. It already has.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, a good meeting. And yeah, we look forward to those continued conversations as well, because it did seem very interested in those projects. They've had a lot of success too with some of those water projects, shaking some of those Inflation Reduction Act funds loose. So hopefully they can do that as well for our Reservoir 2 breach.
Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
That, bring it back to council. Anybody like to go first? Sure.
I'm good.
Go second. I'm good too.
All right.
Let's just keep that rolling. I'm good.
I mean, I'm good, but I also have something to say.
Oh.
All right. Well, it's just like it's three of us.
Okay,
All right, Janine, you're on.
We had an arts and culture board meeting last week. I think I had mentioned to you guys that we're having 2 this month and 2 next month to prep for Cocovino. Hopefully you all saw the email that if you wanted tickets to say, because they're live now.
Yeah. Who wanted tickets for I only got one. Okay.
I didn't send my name because I'm assuming since I'm on the board that that's already understood. But yes, okay.
I emailed today, so
Yeah.
bad if you did
They're going very quickly if they haven't already. Yeah.
Yeah, we they put out 100 and we're saving back
Mhm.
a few for this, and then also for the artists who are donating their art and a +1. So yeah, expected them to go quickly. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But we went over, we took a little tour because a lot of the people on the board hadn't been into Our Lady of Perpetual Motion. So walked through, made a plan, layout, tweaked some things in the how we think we'll lay it out this year, so there won't be as much congestion kind of like it was last year, and got that all going. And then just, yeah, it's the planning for it is ahead of schedule, and it's super exciting and looking forward to it. That's all I have.
Nice.
Yes.
Looking forward to that event.
Yeah, me too.
I always end up with a piece of art.
That's not a bad thing. We had Historic Preservation Board meeting. This was their goal setting session. So, really great discussion about projects and things that they want to tackle this year. And I think it's going to be a really productive year. There's a lot of energy and just kind of finally getting some of the things they've been working on actually rolling, which is exciting. Also working on helping the Heritage Room kind of transition into their 501c3 and getting set up with that, and also kind of activating that more. They want to be more visible. They want to have, they want to pull stuff out and have, things like at the farmer's market. And I think it's going to be pretty neat. So stay tuned on all of that.
You talk about this place downstairs.
That's kind of an evolving thing.
There's been a lot of static stuff.
Yeah.
In those cabinets, so it'd be nice to see something like
Oh, you mean the little displays like
Yeah,
by the
downstairs
DMV
too.
space? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's definitely,
some things like that.
yes.
See down in that area.
Yeah. So they're going to be going through a lot of the things. They also have a lot of spare newspapers, the old Fruita Times. They have pulled like 2 issues of every, so they have 2 issues and then they have a whole bunch that they need to they really need to get rid of it because they're trying to find what to do with those. They don't want to just throw them away. They're hoping maybe they can find, artists that want to incorporate them, or maybe the schools, or I don't know. So maybe keep that kind of in the back of your mind, rattle that around if you hear of, something that might be a good fit for. They would like to free up some storage space. Their storage space is tight, and that's taking up a lot of it, unfortunately. I will be participating as a book for the human library our library is participating in this really cool project that started actually in Denmark. And they invited me to be one of the books. So I'm really excited about that. My book title is actually Elected Official. So I get to share my experience with that. And it's kind of focused on kind of like preconceived notions that people might have or stereotypes, and getting to actually talk to somebody in real life rather than, and then I would encourage you to check it out, check out some books. Unintentional pun. Yeah, but I'm excited about that. Excited to check out some books myself. Yeah, that's all I got.
Do you know if the Historic Society is planning on being involved with the 150-250?
Absolutely.
And if they are, I know it dawned on me just a couple things. I know we have a time capsule. I don't know when they're scheduled to open that.
We have several years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did find out about that.
That would have been cool if it was that, but I figured there was a time date on it. But if they wanted to do something during a presentation during the concert that night, we could.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So if you want to
put that on their radar. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be, we were going to have Mark come and chat with them about like where they might fit in, because I think he's kind of spearheading most of that. They definitely want to be part of, they're talking about some new exhibits for the history fair and for during like the farmer's market and things like that, to really, embrace that opportunity. They definitely want to be involved. And then they are also, they're talking about being a part of the Focus on Ag Week, which Agro West, so Janie Van Winkle and the Business Incubator Center, they have this event in March. It's actually a 10-day, like kind of across the valley. There's going to be a bunch of like farm and ranch focused events. I'll forward you guys the the flyer for that. It's going to be super cool. So I think it does coincide with Farm and Ranch Days for co-op. So the Historic Preservation Board was even talking about trying to figure out how to kind of, maybe bring some agricultural focused historical pieces, because that is a huge piece of our history. Trying to kind of maybe do an open house in that same time. AgriWest is really trying to recruit lots of like micro events. They want to have stuff just everywhere, not just one big, hey, come to this specific event. They're wanting to activate a lot of things across the valley. So I just barely put that on their radar yesterday. So we don't have any, and it's coming up in March. So I have faith that they'll be able to pull something together, but I'll keep you in the loop about that too.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a good meeting. I think that's everything now.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody involved with the winter concert. That was great. The Fruita Youth Council was also awesome there. So thank you to them as well. You talked about the bills and stuff like that. Just as a reminder, the chamber also does their bill tracking. So it's always worth kind of getting on their list and seeing what's coming down and the positions they're taking, clearly with the pro-business point of view. See what else. Who is going to White Ice? Okay. Do we need to?
Yeah, we'll post it.
Yep. Great. Thank you. As I'm also involved with the Jewish Film Festival, if anybody wants it, there are some flyers. And then like Catherine and I have done in years past, we'll do like buy one, get one kind of.
Did you bring a flyer for everyone?
No, I have a bunch.
No.
Hopefully I have enough for everybody. If not, I can email them. But let me know if you're interested in tickets. Catherine and I are always willing to help out on those. Will do. And I think that's really it from everything I've got. So.
Are we for sure not getting to do the Farm and Ranch downtown?
Yeah, Matt reached out. I don't know if he's on, but let me reach back out to him, and because he reached out after last week's meeting. Yep. Again, as a follow-up. Yep.
Love to know. Like,
Yep. Yep.
Or if we can maybe put the bug in their ear for next year.
Right. Yeah.
I did tomorrow at 11 at CMU. I will be a panelist at the Interfaith Breakfast.
Cool.
I'm petrified. So that's going to be interesting to see how that one goes. Anybody have anything else? There you go. All right. With that, the time is 8:08.
Ooh.
We're adjourned. I have that.